Hey guys, this is just because. Like, there's no script to this. I just decided to come in and chat live because I was working on some podcasting. If nobody shows up, cool. If it's just me and Vanessa chit chatting, cool. So B, we did this live podcast. Uh, what'd you think of it? Like, it was a whole production.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
And what'd you think about it? What was the feedback that you got?
I thought it was, personally, I thought it was good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, honestly, though. Excuse me. I got allergies, everybody. Allergies.
She's had them since I've met her, 10 years ago?
I always cough. It's a little bit worse now because of the air and what's going on, but allergies. Every time I cough, someone turns around and looks at me, and I'm like, allergies. Allergies. I thought it was good. However, I don't know if it came across of where Chemo Glow is coming from, what Chemo Glow is about, and what we want to do with Chemo Glow, which is why coming into this quick chat, I think is really good, because I want people to understand why Chemo Glow, why the podcast, why do you even do this? So I bring this question back to you, Regina. Why, look, you got the fireworks in the background.
I'm sorry.
No, it's in my background.
Oh, okay.
If you hear the kids in my neighborhood love to get right in front of my house to do the fireworks. So,
well, we did say that this was not planned, so correct. I just asked if you would go live with me, and we'll just chat and just be us.
Well, there you go.
Why Chemo Glow?
So why Chemo Glow? Why did you create Chemo Glow? What do you want people to get from Chemo Glow?
Well, first, I created Chemo Glow out of madness. I was doing it. I actually recorded myself during my time when I was actually going through. Hey, Jocelyn. So my friends, my family who knew me most was like, they knew me best. They knew that I was upset, and I really couldn't say what I wanted to say. So at the beginning of almost every podcast, you hear like this moment, and I was having my moment. So you would hear me record like these 3 words. That was something I recorded in 2013. You know, so those were something that I recorded in 2013. Those were my thoughts. So it was for me to talk about what I thought my glow was, because I came at it in a different way. I wasn't so much sad as I was angry. So Chemo Glow really came out of, and I can honestly tell you the day that I knew what I was going to name it. I was actually going out with Dina and Eric Bryce. We went to the sushi spot because we used to do the experience at this coffee shop, and they had asked me to come out, and they wanted to take pictures, and I wasn't for the pictures, and I knew that I was going to have a tint to my skin, because everybody says, oh, you look well, when you know you look like death, like you're knocking at death's door. And I took very little pictures during that time, and they sent me that picture, and I was like, wow, that glow was something. So no matter what, you look sick, you know, mentally and physically, I was drained.
They took the picture, and when you got the picture, you saw exactly what you didn't want to see.
And I seen it every time I looked in the mirror, but I would get to the point where I would dress in the dark. I would take a shower in the dark, just because we had a full length mirror that used to go across, and I didn't look like myself. you know?
Mm.
And so I seen me how I actually was looking, then I seen how other people was looking at me. Blessings, sweetie. So really the podcast is my thoughts. It's not just about chemo glow. All of us go through things. And how does it change you when you're going through those things? And for me, it changed me in a way where instead of being so private, I decided to be public. I decided to talk about it. But I know once I started doing the podcast by myself, it was one thing. But when I started chatting with my friends and seeing how many people have been affected by cancer, and it's not just me, in the 9 years that I've been diagnosed, it's not just me. So everybody that's on this chat, everybody that I know of has been touched by cancer in a certain way. So I'm all about talking about it. Even today, you called me. You called me today and you told me a young lady that you know it was just diagnosed with breast cancer. And you were like, let me hook you up with my girlfriend who is going through. My girl that's on this chat right now, her friend, she's going through. And so when she called me, I'm like, okay, what doctor are they going to? What's going on? Because you got to be an advocate of your care. So I'm getting phone calls just because, and I'm like, okay, I need to do more. What can I do? So I need to do more.
So let me ask you about something. I think that the biggest thing, something that you just said that I want to go in a little bit more about, you used to turn the lights off and your full length mirror because what you saw before, you weren't seeing now.
Oh, it's not the same thing.
So I think that that's what, when someone's diagnosed with cancer, going through cancer, nobody talks about what you just said. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to give advice about it. Tell me a little bit about how you get past that or how you get to the next step.
I don't think you get past. I think you move forward, but I don't think you get past. Every time I put on a shirt or put on a bra or don't put on a bra, you know, today I was putting on my shoes because we were out looking at our home that we're having built, and my muscle locked up on my left hand side where my implant is, and my husband was just walking up the hill. And I'm not going to say, hey, I'm having a pain, just wait. No, I just took a deep breath and I was like, okay, just breathe and keep moving. It's not for everybody to know because it's not just done once it's not finished. You know, even with the medication, it's not finished. I just started setting an alarm to make sure that I take my medication at the same time every day. Just because we're in this quarantine, it's kind of changed my schedule. And the girls definitely have my schedule. Like right now, this is not planned. So at any time, they might knock on the door. My husband hopefully will bring me a latte. But you see how I threw that out there, right?
Oh, let me get mine to bring me. Oh, wait a second. I don't have one.
So, and guys, if there's anybody in here that wants to join in and chat, and again, it's not just about the glow, it's about what you go through with your family, with yourself, like the main changes that you have in your life. Like, we'll click you in and let you come on. Love you, sweetie. So
I have to say like that, you know, I have to watch what I'm saying because we're on Facebook and, you know, you have to be very particular about
what, but see, that's the whole thing. Like your podcast for 3, I didn't edit out anything. I edited out the so's and the ums and the things like that. But you were so real in that podcast, I didn't want to cut it down. So I didn't. I didn't cut it down. I asked, you know, I joked about cutting it down. But if I take away your realness and what your experience, I'm taking away from your real experience. Why would I do that? And everybody used to say, you can't say that. Why can't I say that? I can say it.
I think some people don't want to hear you say it, and that's why they say to you, you can't say it, because they don't necessarily want to hear that raw truth, because that is the, you
But
have
it's
cancer,
my,
you have chemo, you have the
yeah.
radiation, you have the obvious, the loss of the hair, the skin coloration, but nobody ever gets into the rawness of what behind the scenes. What does
It,
that look like? What does that feel like?
well, like I went on this trip with women. It was women and men. All of us had a different type of cancer. First Descendants, I think that's what it was called. I met so many amazing women and men. We've had, I believe, one person pass away in that group so far. And we all, like, our scars, we talked about them.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we had raw conversations, because they knew where I was coming from. And it didn't matter whether it was breast, ovarian, whatever. All of us had this experience of hearing the C word.
Yeah.
And that's what mattered. And if I want to be honest with myself about it, I'm not pretty in pink. I don't, my sister cut her hair when, and this is like real talk right here. So I don't know if she's on it, if she's listening, right? When I cut my hair, no, I started cutting my hair right before it was going to fall out. Cause they can tell you in 3 days, this is going to happen. In 2 days, this is going to happen. So my hair was long and I cut it short, and I kept cutting it shorter into a bob. And then my sister came up and she was like, I want to go get my hair cut. And, I want to shave my head for you. And in my mind, in my mind, it was something that I didn't want to celebrate, but I understand that some people need to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that cancer retreat was fire. One of the ladies that I was on the retreat was fire. She just came up, and she is amazing. Her story is amazing. I met so many amazing people, but actually, all of our hair was growing back at the time. But again, when my sister came up, we went to my barbershop, because how it happened was I would go to my husband's barbershop, and he was the one that shaved my head. His barber
Mm-hmm.
was the one that shaved my head. And I wanted, and he waited till 7 o'clock for us to come. So it was nobody else in the shop. So I was sharing that experience with my husband, right? And people don't
Mm-hmm.
know, my hair used to be short. I didn't mind having short hair, but this is different. So by the time my sister was coming up to go to the same barber, she was cutting her hair. They were shaving it off. She was like, let's take pictures. But at this time, my hair started getting patchy. And when my hair was coming out, it hurt. I don't know if it hurt with other people, but it hurt with me. It hurt when it grew back. It was just tender to the touch.
Mm-hmm.
So, by the time she was ready to take a picture with me, that's not the picture I wanted to see. That's not the picture I wanted to remember. It had nothing to do about me having a bald head. It was me
Mm-hmm.
in that moment, and mentally I wasn't there yet. My girl Jackie shaved her head. She never said anything until later, but she
Mm-hmm.
did that for me. So, I get it. I get why people do it. And I do appreciate that. But sometimes we're not ready to accept what's going on with us. So it's kind of hard to be thankful at that time.
You think that I think that that's what I've experienced with cancer,
Mm-hmm.
on several different levels. When people hear you have family members and friends hear you have cancer,
Mm-hmm.
and they want to create all these experiences. And I've done it with my father. You
Yeah.
want to create all these experiences, and you want to just snap the photos so much. And I remember us preparing for my dad's memorial,
Mm-hmm.
which we will be having in June. And my
Mm-hmm.
sister saying, my one of my sisters pulled up a picture, and it was with my dad with a full suit on, and
Mm-hmm.
my sister, who actually took care of my father, says, "No, I hate that picture."
Mm-hmm.
And it's surrounded around the things that you just said, because she's like, that's daddy. Yes, he's in the suit, but daddy's sick in that
Yeah.
suit. I don't want us to post that picture. I want pictures before the
Yeah.
cancer. But I think that family and friends want to take a lot of pictures, because they're trying to create memories, and
Mm-hmm.
those pictures they want to pull up where potentially the person doesn't want to take pictures or doesn't want those pictures posted or
Yeah.
out or used as a piece of memory.
Yeah. It's, my seeing my mom dying and her going through chemo and not knowing that was going to be my fate later on. It was always watching my mom trying to have the energy to entertain, even when she was feeling
Mhm.
bad. And I found some pictures later on of her. She had a trach. She had, her hair was out, the chemo, she had the glow. And, we're just snapping pictures, snapping away. And I'm just thinking, like, what the hell was my mom thinking at that time? She couldn't speak.
Mhm.
She couldn't say, no, don't take a picture because
Mhm.
you know, we want those memories, right? But even then, I was like, yeah, if I ever get sick, because
So what
remember my
should
brother.
people do?
Say it again.
What should people do?
I
Because we
don't.
want to create this chemo glow is about, it's about educating people, helping people to know how to relate, whatever they're getting
Yeah.
at. But what should people do?
Well, I think it's the individual. Like, what should you do? You should tell your friends what you like and what you don't like, right?
Mhm.
People don't know what to do. So your roommate bought me this beautiful candle,
Mhm.
and it was pink, and I was like, yeah, I don't do pink. And I didn't even think before I said that because I didn't do pink before. But I
Yeah.
remember her facial expression. And I was like, Regina, there's two things that I've said to two people that I regretted going through treatment. And they probably don't even know it. It was just me saying it, like just saying it. But do what you do. And it's an understanding that I know I learned that some people don't know what to say and they can't. So I can't fault you for, cutting your hair, bringing me pink. My mom used to be like, I don't have breast cancer. Stop sending me pink crap because she had lung cancer,
Oh, did she
because,
say that?
yeah, everybody was sending her pink stuff. She's like, yeah, I'm dying of lung cancer. And she
Oh
would just
my gosh.
smile.
Yes, yes.
So, yeah, I just, do what you do, but don't be mad at the person how they react. Like, don't be mad at me.
Mhm.
Like my friend Jocelyn, one of her best friends has stage 4 breast cancer. She hates pink. When people give her pink and give her the sad eyes, that does something to your soul. And like when I'm talking to different women, I'm just thinking about, okay, I had stage 2. This person has 3. This person has 4.
Mhm.
How do you relate? How do you relate to that? Some people say, well, if you had stage 0, you don't have real cancer. And I'm like, they
Mhm.
heard the words. When I went through radiation, there was a book in there. They have a book in there to talk about your experience, to journal. The
Mhm.
book was so amazing to read because all the people were, having radiation, they were talking about it's not just about breast cancer, it's not all about pink. These are people who are going to get radiated, having a discussion back and forth in a journal, and they felt slighted because their cancer is not recognized,
Mhm.
you know
I
so it
actually, I mean, I kind of agree with that because breast cancer is at the forefront of everything. That's where you
mhm,
see, that's what people talk about the most is breast cancer. There's a breast
mhm,
cancer walk. And, so I could imagine that is hurtful. That can be like, well,
mhm,
I have breast cancer. What about the cancer that I have? Are there walks for this cancer?
mhm.
What kind of studies are being done for this cancer? So I could understand that.
And there's so much out there, like people have an understanding, a different perspective of what's going on with cancer. It's different. It's different for everybody.
I agree with what Jocelyn just said Jocelyn Walker on here, like she
Mm-hmm.
said, when you come out and you say stage 4 breast cancer, people do automatically assume
Yeah.
the doom, you're gonna die. You know, it
They treat you different. Your family treats you different. And then, like, say if you're not grateful that you're still on this earth, like, how dare you not be
yeah.
grateful? And there's other people who've died already. Like, let me tell you, this week, when I say my friends have straightened my crown because it was crooked, my S on my chest was faded.
Mm-hmm.
And I needed to express myself about what was going on in my life. And my girl Talanya was like, "Your problems are your problems. You should be able to express your problems. They might sound a little, crazy to other people, but they're your problems." So even with stage 4 or triple negative, we're like, oh, what kind of cancer? It's so many things out there. People only think there's stage 1 through 4. There's so much out there that goes with a diagnosis of cancer. I'm not a doctor. I'm not in the medical field. I was a person who had breast cancer. And at any given time, when I go back for those, they move my appointments to 6 months now, which I've missed because of the quarantine. But at any given time, they can say, it's back.
Mm-hmm.
It it's never ending. But do I still choose to live my life? Yeah. But I also got to think about my family, my girls going through this. And I've seen death and dying up close. So, yeah, it's crazy.
Well,
It's
and that's
crazy.
the thing that is cancer. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and when someone's got cancer and you go in remission, how do you tell me how that feels when you're in remission? Always with the thought of what you just said. It could be any time the doctor says it's back.
And
How do you live your life with that in just in the air?
you, it's crazy because tonight when I go into my girl's room, I think about it. When they started their daycare, I didn't wear anything, I didn't say anything about me going through cancer or whatever. And then they had like a pink run or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was asked to do a news report or news article, or I was on TV. I've done so many of the little things for UNC. And I knew other people would see it, but I didn't want my girls to have, oh my God, your mom had cancer.
Mm-hmm.
But they put on their little pink shirts, and it was funny because their little pink shirt says, I run for my mom, or I do it for my mom. And everybody's like, but you don't look like you had cancer.
Mm-hmm.
But there's many times that you're reminded every day. But I still like, yo, I kick cancer's ass.
That's
And
right.
at any time, if he come knocking or she come knocking or the beast come knocking out the door again, we'll deal with it when we deal with it. But that's
Knock
just
us
like,
up.
I could get hit by a bus tomorrow
Yes.
or
Yep.
something else can happen. So I just got to live it. And the way I did it was through those moments, like on the podcast at the very beginning, I wrote it down. I took a picture of it. I journaled for myself because I didn't know how public I was going to be about it, but it was for me. So after I get done with this, I'll probably jump on the mic and spit a podcast out. I got several of them waiting. So,
So
that's how I get through.
how important do you think it is to talk about it?
It depends. For
Mm-hmm.
me, it's talk about it. I had to be real honest with myself in that I was newly married. And my husband was taking care of me and everything else. And he's
Mm-hmm.
never had anybody die in his life. He's never had anybody like somebody who's close to him, his immediate family. So he's never experienced death like that before or the whole dying process.
Mm-hmm.
So I just had to be honest with myself, and I'm thankful that he was honest with me. There's things that have come up later, like from like when I used to have chemo.
Mm.
You know, you can taste the medicines that they put in you, the poison. And like he would give me a little kiss, and later on he'd be like, "Oh God, I could taste that chemotherapy that was going through your
Wow.
body." And I was like, well, dang, I was radioactive. Like, what the hell? But he did it anyway, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah,
I have to
it's
say,
crazy.
like, I think the some of the one of what I've seen from you is the most some of the most important things is to try and keep the joy still in your
Oh,
life, to be able
yes.
to laugh and make jokes. You've made jokes about the most morbid. I was about to say a curse word, but I pulled it back in real quick. Pulled it back in. You you jokes you've made jokes about some of the, your boobies and the
Yeah.
arm and the band you got to put on. I mean,
Man.
and to be honest, it is good to be able to laugh with you during these times.
Oh man, let me tell you, my girl Jocelyn, she's on she's on here. So she came to the house one day, and there's very few people that have seen like what it looks like. And I had my left breast removed the first time, and then I had my my right one removed after that. But she took my boob, and my boob was like, she could have looked like she was like, she had flash, and it looked like she was pregnant with that boob, because God blessed me with huge knockers, right? Even though
Uh-huh.
they tried to kill me, right? They tried to kill me. But she had my boob, like she just picked it up. We were in my bathroom, and she just was, she put it in her shirt, and I was like, oh my God. But that's what I loved about her. Like the weekend she came up to spend time with me, I think that our neighbors thought that we were high, because we were just running around the backyard, just laughing, juicing. It was just ridiculous. It was just a great time. But she could laugh at what I was going through.
Hmm.
So it was probably Flash, or I had a couple of names for them because I had so many boobs. That's another thing. I had Flash, and then I had Wet Willie because that one could get wet, and then
Uh-huh.
I had a foam one that was garbage. And what was crazy was with these boobs, none of them were my shade of skin color. So when they slipped up and came up here, you was like, "Oh my goodness, did she
Hmm.
dye her boob white?" Because they didn't make them in my shade. But
Yeah.
yeah, Jason Mraz, that's what we did all weekend. So that's how I got through you guys, my friends, even people on Facebook. Like when I was having my girls, people I
Hmm.
haven't talked to since high school. Just the things that they said. Um, it's amazing what people do to make you smile. Yeah, that boob was heavy. It was. It was really, really heavy. Like I was blessed with triple D's. And again, they tried to kill me. But I can joke about it, you
Yes.
know. But some people think you shouldn't be joking about that. You need to be praying and thanking God. And I do all that. Through Christ Jesus, I do. I do all that. But that's how I got through, because my
Hmm.
grieving process was, I was mad. I was more sad when my girls were born because I worried about them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So it is close to 30 minutes, Regina, and I want to ask you one
oh,
question that
I'm going to
I
stay on
did.
here as long as I can. I mean, we ran the live for 2 hours. People talk junk about
Yeah, but we're not going to run the live for 2 hours tonight.
No,
Not
we're not.
tonight.
We're just chatting.
So,
Yeah. Go ahead.
I want to ask you the same question I asked you in the beginning, because these are
Hmm.
just snippets of conversations
Yeah.
that we are putting out.
Hmm.
Um, really need people to go and check out those podcasts,
Oh
to
yeah.
like them, to share them, to comment on them.
To give me
But
a review, guys.
what I want to ask you is, again, why are you doing this? Why do you have Chemo Glow out? What do you want to come of Chemo Glow?
First, it was for me. It's my therapy. I mean, my husband told me to be selfish. And for me to be selfish is me to be able to express how I'm really feeling. And then it's also because I don't want anybody else to be jumped in this game with the pink colors, the purple colors, the white colors, whatever color ribbon cancer represents. It's hard. I don't want people to go through it by themselves. Thank you, sweetie. I was able to have my husband there, but there's some people who don't have a loved one or someone to sit through an appointment. So I'm doing Chemo Glow because I want us to do better. I want us to live longer. I want us to go get our mammograms. I want us to keep our health in check, not just our physical health, but our mental health. And then more and more we do these podcasts, more and more we go live, I think we can touch someone. So like I used to say, touch yourself. So the doctor doesn't have to touch you with that scalpel. Like,
It's true.
really, just go touch your boob. You guys have your
Yes.
husband touch you. Do it in the shower. Do something. But yeah, go touch yourself.
And I have to say something I learned a lot from you is you have to have someone in those meetings with you.
You
You
do.
have to have someone because when you're hearing this information, you're not taking it all in. You just need someone, some kind of support system, someone to be
Yeah.
able to regurgitate those words back to you or to write the information down, the questions. And I tell you, when I spoke to a young lady today, and she told me, well, she was diagnosed, and well, no one can come in the appointment with me because of COVID. I
Oh my
said,
goodness.
you need to put your speakerphone on and have someone on the line that can listen to those meetings with you while you're sitting in there with the doctor. There is no way you should be in there by yourself
Yeah.
without other ear hearing this information, even if they don't know what they're talking about.
Or record it. You can tell them, hey, can I record this for later? Or if they have a resource center, like I am the vice president of the Patient and Family Advisory Counselor at UNC Cancer Center. So they have different resources at UNC. If you say, hey, I need someone to come sit in my appointment, they'll find a lay navigator that will come sit in your appointment, take those notes during this time. So it's important that you guys, you have someone there with you. And if you don't have someone with you, tell them that you want to record it. Tell them, read those notes that, at the end of your doctor's notes, when you leave an appointment, grab that, read over it. Don't feel bad about going to my chart and asking questions
Yes.
because the first
Yep.
person that's going to look at it is the nurse. The nurse is not going to be the doctor at first, but it's your whole team has access to it. Don't be afraid to advocate for your care. So that's a big thing. Like, don't be afraid to advocate for your care. And, when you get to those appointments, like for me, chemo brain is real. If I can't remember it, I'm going to ask you. But I was lucky enough to have someone beside me. Get a second opinion. I got a second opinion.
Yeah.
I'd be dead if I didn't have this second opinion. So get a second opinion, but advocate for your care. The doctors work for you. And if you go in there not wanting to hear the information, they're going to give you exactly what you asked for. So please make sure you ask them what's going on. So did you start the music on me?
I did.
Did y'all hear that? She started the music on me. Like, Regina, you're going to be off here.
Hey, ladies, when we know better, we got to do better. We learned better from the last, our first podcast.
Our
When
big
you know
production.
better, you do better.
That's right. But before we go, guys, please check out Vanessa's. Her podcast is called What Cancer? It is long. It's an hour, but it's a 2-part. But you're not going to stop listening to it. It is great. And the last 30 minutes is priceless. So thank you for allowing me to chat. She's Sandmaning me off the stage. So I'm going to go and do a podcast. Grover, get your girl. I'm going to go and do a podcast about her cutting me off, you know, off my own live. Well, guys, I thank you. Maybe I'll do this more often. If you are interested on coming on to the podcast, whether live or me just talking to you one-on-one, I would love to hear your story. You could help someone else, and that's another thing that Chemo Glow is doing. Hearing other people's story is like, wow, I'm going through, I'm dealing with. And I would love to talk to caregivers too. One of these days I will get my husband up here. We'll see. And because I would like to hear it from a caregiver's point of view. For someone taking care of a loved one, it's difficult. So
and we'll
guys, thanks a bunch. Till next time. Peace. Blessings.